for a film that was monumental, a movie that you could say was one that everyone went out and saw and loved it, I'm surprised it took us this long to get a sequel. And I know people will say, well, Zach, there was reasoning behind that. I get it. But still, you cannot deny the fact that we're getting a sequel 13 years after that is just crazy to think. Like, there was memes for a long time that for as much as James Cameron is talking about making a sequel, we were all like, man, that ain't coming out. Stop lying to us. And then all of a sudden, oh yeah, hold my beer, because I got one for you. Avatar: The Way of Water is once again directed by James Cameron with a screenplay by James Cameron, Rick Jaffa, and Amanda Silver, and a story by James Cameron, Rick Jaffa, Amanda Silver, Josh Friedman, and Shane Salerno. The film stars Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Sigourney Weaver, Stephen Lang, and Kate Winslet. According to IMDb's plot synopsis, Jake Sully lives with his newfound family on the extrasolar moon Pandora. Once a familiar threat returns to finish what was previously started, Jake must work with Natiri and the army of the Na'vi race to protect their home. Avatar became the highest grossing film of all time. Not of the year, not of the decade, of all time. The fact that these blue cat aliens managed to make so much money to becoming the highest grossing film of all time is just insane to even think about. And it would hold that title until 2019 when Avengers Endgame took it over. That became the highest grossing film for like a day or week because Disney decided, well, you know what? We can make some more money out of Avatar. Shortly after being dethroned, Avatar would be re-released, having that title be usurped from Endgame so quickly and still becoming the highest grossing film of all time. It's just funny how, yes, while Disney at the end of the day, they are making the money, I would rather take the movie that overtook the highest grossing movie over the film that would then eventually dethrone that one to become the highest grossing movie again. It's funny to think that way. Cameron has had plans for 5 films, but it would take 13 years for just the second film to be released. His whole reasoning was that due to the technology needed to catch up with this sequel in terms of shooting underwater, it would be probably one of the first films to ever use and utilize CGI underwater with motion capture. It made the idea of sequels pretty much a joke until 2022. Everyone, I am telling you, everyone was probably thinking to themselves, these movies ain't gonna come out. James Cameron can talk all he wants. We all know that shit ain't gonna ever come out. But lo and behold, 2022 came around and he said, okay, we can give you that second one already. For me, I thought it was good at the time. But I made a mistake when I reviewed it back in 2022 because after reviewing it, there's like a realization of, oh my god, I forgot to say this, but I never said anything, and I just went about my day and years not thinking about it until recently where I'm like, oh yeah, I did have another problem with this movie, but upon rewatching it, I just think it's kind of like the first movie. It's okay at best. Really good moments and things that do stand out to me, but it still is frustrating. It has the same kind of value that I have as the first movie in that such amazing ideas put into here with great production and all is all right there, but in the end, it just annoyed me overall. But before discussing my problems, here are the positives. The direction is phenomenal. Again, director James Cameron shows off more of Pandora in familiar and new ways, offering audiences a thrilling but breathtaking film. If there's one thing that James Cameron knows how to do, keep an audience tension into film with its world building and the way the film goes about it. And how Cameron continues to showcase his Pandora is still amazing. It looks lively, it looks gorgeous, but it really does showcase how much he truly deeply cares about the world of Pandora and the way in which this movie goes about showcasing that. And it just seems to me that Cameron wanted that to be always the forefront of the film, which I have my problems with, but I can respect the fact that he really wants that to be on display. I can't knock him down for that. He does have that certain love and passion for how Pandora showcases its luscious nature and water sequences. He has that knack for it, and when it comes to action sequences, he knows how to direct that very well and very efficiently. The visuals are magnificent. The world of Pandora is lively and stunning with every Navi, creature, plants, ships, you name it. It all looks terrific, being one of the most beautiful films to date. I cannot take for granted how much this movie is, and I think will be, one of the most gorgeous looking films in recent memories. There is something to be had when it comes to how much James Cameron, but really the visual effects team, just really dialed everything up, taking what has worked before in the first movie and making sure that all the detailing is now higher res and more fluent than ever it was. It's crazy to think that after the first movie you would think it would just look the same but still look amazing, but this movie is like, no, I'm gonna dial this up all the way to 11 because it is incredible on every little detail in this movie, even just down to like hands. It's truly breathtaking to watch. Visual effects artists just go fully insane in this movie, and it is amazing, and such a round of applause to them. The cinematography is gorgeous. Cinematographer Russell Carpenter shoots a dazzling and jaw-dropping film that continues to bring wonder and awe, making everyone fall in love again with Pandora. Carpenter brings that same influence that the original film had with regards to its look appeal, and I think he does that stunningly. He does bring a sense of vibrant nature and wonder when it comes to how Pandora showcases everything, especially when it comes to the water sequence, which is pretty much a majority of the movie, but is absolutely stunning on how much this movie is able to showcase all of that on full display in pretty much IMAX cameras, because how they are able to handle and showcase all this is incredible to me, and it really does seem like a lot of love and passion went into how this movie would look when it came through to showcasing it all on the big screen. The music is fantastic. Composer Simon Franklin crafts a score that's effective with evoking heart and excitement, allowing it all to blend as one. Taking what James Horner did with the original score and really elevating it and bringing more to it is a daunting task, but one that I think Simon Franklin does well, because not only does he honor with what James Horner did with the original score, but I think he does elevate even more when it comes to showcasing the creatures, environments, elevating action sequences, the nature environments, all of it. I think he does well at making it all blend together so well. It's incredible to think that they are able to really bring the emotion to it and the heart that you can feel. And it's great knowing that James Horner's legacy continues to live on with Avatar in the form of this score, and that's a lot of respect, because that is a daunting task when it comes to bringing your own style but also trying to honor what came before. The production is incredible. Like the first, the amount of work put into film via crew work, props, and sets look amazing, all of it paying off in the end. There is no denying how much James Cameron, but also really the crew work, props, the sets, all of it was just top tier when it came to making sure that everything was showcased on full effect. Everything felt right. Everything felt like it was all lock solid and steady when it came to those moments. And that is the best thing you can have with regards to a movie of this caliber, is knowing that you have a production that really feels like a lot of effort and a lot of talent is being put into this and is there and it is all amazing by the end. The action is engaging, every action sequence is heightened and exciting to watch, having some thrilling moments when it happens. While I do think that there is something to be had with regards to how it's in the story, by themselves, I think the action sequences are awesome. I think there are some really cool, badass moments, especially one that involves Neytiri near the end of the movie with her taking out a bunch of the military soldiers on the ship. I thought that was really cool. I do think that it's probably one of the best science fiction action sequences that you could possibly see on a film level. And it really highlights how much James Cameron is really effective when it comes to keeping the suspense and keeping audiences engagement with what is happening in front of them. But like the first, it still falls down the holes that hurts the film from improving with what the first film had problems with. I just wish that this movie had really took what was criticism and improve upon it, but in the end it just seems like James Cameron just said, you know what, I don't give a flying fuck. Right? I'm making the movies I want to make. If that is the case, here are my negatives. The story is bland, like the first. Following Sully and his family fight back against the military was just uninteresting but frustrating in execution. Again, some good moments, but not overall. It's annoying and still frustrating to think that this is a main character that I guess a lot of people like, but in my eyes, I think this character is just so boring. I just don't find Jake Sully that interesting of a character. And if you want to talk about other uninteresting characters, his kids really also take that cake because they are just some of the most stereotypical characters you can come across in any sort of movie. Not science fiction movie, of any movie. And that's the frustrating part because you're supposed to make me care about these people, but I don't really 100% really care that much. And how are you going to make me care when you can't even get me invested with what they are as a family, but then also have the main villain return and just kind of make him all sorts of weird and just corniness to him that it just doesn't feel like it's as effective as it can. But overall, I just found the story to just be really, really dull. The pacing runtime is excruciating. Every scene goes on too long and progressively gets duller. With a runtime of 3 hours and 12 minutes, it was exhausting. I had to take a couple of breaks while watching this movie because of how extremely long this film is. I don't care if Cameron says, well, people today, they watch movies, or rather shows, that they binge in like one sitting. Hey, guess what? I don't. I don't do that. I digest it at a normal healthy pace, which is I do it one at a time, or maybe two. But for the most part, that's a good amount of how much I am able to take in a quality of a show for what it is. And the fact that he just thinks that, well, you can handle it, right? If it's worth it. And like I said, because that story is not interesting, it's not. And it just feels like good moments that you can watch on YouTube, and that's it. In my eyes, I would never think to myself, I want to rewatch Avatar The Way of Water. Because honestly, there's better movies to watch that have better runtimes than this. The writing is hollow. Writers Cameron, Jaffa, and Silver crafts a script that doubles down on exposition dumps and more narration, also adding cringy lines to hamper it. This was the one thing I am surprised I could not believe I missed out in my original review, because the exposition dumps, just like with the first, they explain shit so much, and there are even times where they don't explain things that I feel like should be explained, but they don't desire to do that. And the narration from Jake Sully, I hate it. I hate the fact that this man just keeps on talking at certain points in the film to explain things to us when the movie can explain it through other characters and have other expositions that I think could make more sense, but they choose not to, which involves Sigourney Weaver, because her character is linked to her character of Grace Augustine from the first film. They explain how she's born, which still makes no sense, but they'll never explain like how she is able to do a lot of shit in this movie. It's crazy to me to think that for how many people always say about like Mary Sue's, or like just saying like how badly written characters are, this is a character that is just an amalgamation of random bullshit, and it don't make no goddamn sense. Even by the end, I'm like, what is happening? The performances are lacking. Aside from Zoe Saldana, which I give her credit, she is probably still the only best performance, although I will say, while rewatching it, she is hardly in this movie, which is a crime because she is probably still the best performance out of this entire film because everyone else is just playing stereotypes. Sam Worthington is just now playing military dad, or the dad who thinks that he knows what's best for his family, or you have his children who just act like stereotypical children. They wasted that potential. You have Kate Winslet in this, and I feel like she's just playing another version of Neytiri, except I feel like she's hardly also in this movie. So for me to sit here and think that these performances are amazing is kind of sad because I know these actors can do well and I know can perform, but it's just to me, I feel like none of the performances really stand out aside from Zoe Saldana. She's the only one that I think actually gives a genuinely good performance that is actually worth seeing. But otherwise, everyone else in this movie is just being stereotypes for the sake of it. All in all, it's just the same as the first. I wish I could be with some people on liking these films, okay? I wish I could. I honest to God, I want to. But I just can't, unfortunately. It's not enough to just justify, well, it's still an amazing movie. It's an amazing looking movie, not an amazing film, because then that's implementing the idea that the story is amazing and all these other issues that I've had are not warranted the criticism. But I disagree because these are things that are supposed to make up a movie that can get me interested. And for you to not give me that, that's just kind of disappointing. Ultimately, they're just style over substance. That's the best way I can describe these movies, is that while they are visually dazzling and can be really thrilling with those action sequences, I just ultimately think that James Cameron is just more focused on the technology than actually making a good story, because I feel like that is where his heart and soul is in, than actually giving me something to care about. And for a guy who really made people care about Terminators and all that shit, it's not enough to justify me saying like, oh, well, that's excused. No, it's not. I'm going to give Avatar The Way of Water a 6 out of 10. It's okay at best, just like the first. It's not something that I will sit here and say is amazing other than its visuals. But again, style over substance. Not really that hard to make something look super duper pretty. It's, I feel like, hard enough to just balance them both. And it just seems like Cameron is just more focused on how it looks and how it flows rather than actually caring about a story that is worth meaning something than just nothing. So I will be soon reviewing one battle after another. So yes, look forward to that review and other reviews coming soon.